Waiting for the headlines to tell you that the Cape Coral real estate market is changing? You're probably already too late. 6 months ago, buyers were asking, how low can I get the seller to go? Now today, many are asking, why can't I find the house I want? The biggest thing I'm hearing from buyers isn't that the prices are too high, it's that they don't see nearly the same number of options they had just 12 months ago. Now that's because inventory continues to fall and we're seeing fewer homes available than we did this time last year. Now at the same time, prices appear to be stabilizing, which is something many people didn't expect heading into 2026. So what's interesting is that while inventory is shrinking, sales were actually down in May compared to a year ago. Is that because Easter came early this year? Are buyers becoming more cautious because of inflation? Is global uncertainty causing some people to pause major decisions? Or is this simply a temporary slowdown before the summer relocation season kicks into gear? Now the good news for buyers is that opportunities still exist. Now the challenge is there are fewer of them than there were just a year ago. So the big question becomes, if inventory keeps falling and buyers keep showing up, how much longer can Cape Coral remain a buyer's market? Now in this update, I'll break down exactly what's happening in the Cape Coral real estate market, where prices are heading, what's happening with inventory, and what I'd personally be paying attention to right now if I were buying or selling. I'm Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral Waterfront Realtor, and this is the June 2026 Cape Coral Market Update.
Welcome to the Cape Coral Market Update for June 2026. Inventory continues to decrease. We're going to take a look at the numbers, going to see what the median price point is here in the city of Cape Coral. Now this is the single family homes market update, so this is going to go into everything single family home here in the city of Cape Coral. As we jump into the summer months, we want to find out exactly what we're expecting to see happen based on the numbers where we've come from. We're going to look back 30 days, then we're going to go back 90 days, and then an entire year back to compare numbers to see just how the market is trending. Got a lot of information to go over, so go ahead and stick with me as we jump through. First up, we're going to look at market indicators. This is how we know exactly what's happening in the market. If we don't understand the indicators, we really can't read the market very well. First up, we have inventory. This is how many homes are currently available on the market for purchase. This is our supply. And then we have median price point. This is the median price for which homes are selling. 50% are being sold above this amount, 50% are being sold below this amount. And then we have days on the market. How many days are homes sitting on the market before going under contract? And then last, but certainly not least, is closed sales. Now this is the demand. How many homes are actually selling here in the city of Cape Coral each month? I think you're going to be surprised at these numbers as we are selling a lot of homes here in the city of Cape Coral from month to month. Okay, active inventory. How many homes are currently available here in May 2026? We had 2,381 homes currently available for sale here in the city of Cape Coral. February 2026, 2,672 homes available, and then May 2025, 1 year ago, 3,126 homes available. As you can see, that's a huge drop from where we were 1 year ago. Inventory is disappearing. That means the supply is getting lower and lower. What happens when supply goes lower? Typically, prices go up unless demand shrinks as well with that supply. So let's look where we were at. Last year during season through February, March, April, we were well over 3,000 homes on the market. At the end of February into March, we were at over 3,500 single family homes for sale here in the city of Cape Coral. Now look where we've fallen to. We are at just 2,381 homes, and we continue to shrink in inventory. So as supply shrinks, we're going to watch what the market's going to do.
Real quick, one thing I've learned after helping so many out-of-town buyers and sellers is that the people who have the smoothest transition are usually the ones who take the time to put together a game plan before they buy or sell. So if you're seriously considering buying a second home, a vacation home, retiring, relocating, or selling here in Cape Coral, I'll put a link below where you can schedule a complimentary one-on-one Zoom strategy call with me. We can talk through the different waterfront neighborhoods, boating access, flood zones, pricing, lifestyle, and help you figure out which area truly fits the kind of Southwest Florida lifestyle you've been dreaming about. I also have systems in place specifically designed to help out-of-town buyers and sellers navigate the process remotely and make the transition to Southwest Florida feel simple, organized, and low stress. All right, let's get back into the video.
Next up, we have median price point. So what's happening? Is the price changing yet? For May 2026, our median price point was $385,000. 50% of the homes sold above that amount, 50% of the homes sold below that amount. February 2026, $400,000. That was just 3 months ago. And then May 2025, 1 year ago, we were at $370,000 for a median price point. So as you can see, as we went year over year, we did go into the summer months. We saw that price start to drop just a little bit. Once we got back into December, we did see a jump, and then we hit the high of $400,000 for the last 12 months in February 2026. Then we dropped off in March as sellers were starting to get a little anxious. They wanted to get those homes sold during season, and then we started to see it jump up once again. So where do I expect it to go over the next 6 months? As we head into the summer months, I expect it to stay right around 385. We might see a bit of an increase, but it's certainly not going to be as low as it was last year, this time right around 365, 370. My advice is if we hit the 400,000 mark for 3 months in a row, it's over. You've already lost your opportunity. Right now is the opportunity. I've been talking about this for the last probably 12 months, is you need to take advantage now because the prices are at the best they're going to be. Sellers are willing to negotiate. As inventory continues to shrink, we're already seeing where sellers aren't negotiating as much, especially with the properties that are really nice. The ones that have been updated, the ones that are priced right from the beginning, those homes are selling very quickly, and sellers are not negotiating as much as they were a year ago. That is one of the things that I'm seeing buyers talk about, is that, Barry, I've been watching the market for a few years now, and I see that prices are starting to stabilize, but the opportunities that I saw, I was seeing tons and tons of these beautiful Gulf access homes that were available, and I'm just not seeing as many options. Or when I do see an option hit, it doesn't sit on the market for 20 days or 30 days or 60 days. It jumps fast, so you have to be a little quicker if you do see the right opportunity. All right, days on the market. This is shrinking as well. Days on the market for May 2026 was 41 days on the market. February 2026, 51 days on the market. And May 2025, 53 days on the market. So homes are definitely not sitting on the market as long as they used to. A year ago, 18 months ago, we were up in the 60 range for quite a while. Now, one of the things I want to point out is you may be watching this, maybe you're trying to sell your home, or maybe your neighbor's trying to sell their home, and you say, Barry, my neighbor's home has been on the market for 6 months. What's going on? Well, homes that are actually in a position to sell, maybe if they're priced right or they've been updated, they're desirable, these homes are starting to go fast. So when they hit the market, buyers are there waiting and they take them off the market quickly. Now, if the home needs a lot of updating, maybe it's an older property in a flood zone that's creating some challenges there, they may sit on the market quite a bit longer. So they are bringing the date of the median days of market up. However, overall, it's starting to shrink. And I've been seeing homes go very quickly if they're priced right and they're in the right location and they have the updates or upgrades that they need to have in order to get the buyer's attention. Gone are the days of homes sitting on the market, the good ones, for a substantial amount of time. Now, closed sales, May 2026, 474 closed sales. February 2026, 423 closed sales. And May 2025, 525 closed sales. Now, I was expecting, we talked about this last month, I was expecting us to knock out May 2025. We were going to be up around 550 closed sales for the month of May. But as you can see, we didn't hit that. We actually were about 50 homes less than where we were last year at the same time for closed sales in the month of May. Now, I do expect this number to jump up a little bit because I try to get you the numbers as quick as possible, and often the closed sales do not get put in. It takes a few days for all the agents to get their closed sales put in that happened in the month of May. So this number is going to tick up just a bit, but we're not going to hit 525. So what happened? Why are we down? If we look at the last 5 months, the first 5 months of the year over year, we're up over 100 homes sold. So this year has been a stronger year than last year, 2026, as far as buyers go. However, for May, we actually dropped off. And there's a handful of things that could be going on here. One, Easter came early this year. It came 15 days earlier than it did last year. When Easter comes, Oftentimes, a lot of the snowbirds pack up, they go north. That's their signal. It's time to go north. The weather's changing. Let's go back to where we came from. It's time to be with the grandkids. And so they head back north again. Another challenge that we're seeing is inflation is starting to rise just a bit. So people that would normally be coming into the market that were getting excited are starting to be a little more hesitant due to inflation going up. Gas prices are up. Other things are starting to keep people a little bit more skittish. And then, of course, you have the conflict in the Middle East that's also causing people a little bit of hesitation. But what happens when you have hesitation? You know as well as I know, you get opportunities. So I believe that's why the number of sales was down in May. As we get into the summer months, we're going to have a solid summer this month. I think everything's going to go very well. We have a lot of families relocating here to the Cape Coral area, so we will monitor that as we go forward. Traditionally, though, we don't see as many sales in the summer as we do in the spring. February, March, April, May are our strong months where we see the most amount of homes being sold. And as you can see how the chart works here, once we hit May, last year we had a really nice strong month, 525. And then as we go into the summer months, we start to see that trickle off. And then September, October, we really start to see a drop. November was more than normal last year. January is always pretty slow because most of the people put those homes under contract in November, December for the holidays. A lot of people aren't really focused on buying real estate in Cape Coral. And then at first season, we saw it jump quite a bit really fast. So let's see what happens this summer. We do have a lot of families still relocating here to the Cape Coral area. However, there's not as much inventory. So in theory, we're not going to sell as many houses as the inventory continues to shrink. Almost 1,000 houses less than we had last year in February and March. All right, months of inventory. Now this one's so important, so critical to understanding how the market's moving and if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Buyers have had the upper hand for the last 3 years or so. Sellers are starting to gain some leverage. So you really want to pay attention here, because if you've been thinking about escaping the frigid cold of the north, or you've been renting here in Cape Coral, every winter you come down and you rent, you may want to start really considering buying, because you may be losing that opportunity of trying to time the market at the bottom. May 2026, 5 months of inventory. February 2026, 6.5 months of inventory. And then 1 year ago, 6 months of inventory. Now, what does this mean? Months of inventory means if not another new home came to the market based on the buyer demand, it would take us 5 months to completely sell out the inventory here in the city of Cape Coral. Anywhere between 4 months and 6 months is considered a neutral market. And we've been hovering, if you look at the chart right here, since last year, we've been hovering right around there. We always see a huge spike in January, and that's because we have a lot of homes hit the market in preparation. So if you want the most amount of options to pick from, January is always your best bet. Now, you also have a lot of competition too. So typically you're not going to get the best prices in January, but you are typically going to get the most options January and then into February just a bit. And then, so what we're talking about now is months of inventory. And if you see the headlines, if you read any headlines, you hear anybody talking on the internet right now about Cape Coral being a terrible market, it's the worst market, it's absolute baloney, because if you look, markets are determined by supply and demand. And we've been sitting in a neutral market for over a year now. So absolutely not are we in any type of concern for our real estate market here in the city of Cape Coral. We have a lot of demand and our supply is shrinking rapidly. So when that happens, prices are going to go up. And I can't stress that enough. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, please take a step back, reevaluate if you want to spend another frigid cold winter in the north, or if it's time to move to Cape Coral, because we've got some great properties right on the water where you can park a boat right in your backyard and head out to the Gulf at your leisure. Okay, other current trends to be aware of. So we take a snapshot of the last week of April heading to May 1st, and then the last week of May heading to June 1st. And new listings, as you can see, we're always going to slow down once we get into the summer months because we're out of season. So new listings, 161 the first or the last week of April, and then 103 the last week of May. Sold homes, 176 sold homes the end of the last week of April, and then 116 the last week of May. we jump on down, we can take a look at pendings, homes that just went pending the last week of April, 178 compared to 135. Now, this is pretty standard. This doesn't mean the market's slowing down. It's just how it works here in Cape Coral. We have very strong months, February, March, April, May. And then as we get into the summer, it slows down a little bit. And then once we get into the fall, September, October, those are two of our slowest months in the end of August. Meaning, oftentimes, if you find the right home, you can get a really good deal in that time frame. Okay, other key numbers to be aware of. Sold price per square foot, $256 a square foot here in the city of Cape Coral. And that number actually jumped quite a bit from where we were last month, the last several months. It's been in the 240s for quite a while. And we jumped to $256 a square foot. So that number is rising. List price received, 98% of the price. So whatever you see the price on the MLS or on Zillow or Redfin, wherever you're looking, sellers are giving about a 2% discount off that price. That's what agents are typically being able to negotiate. Now, obviously, 2% is not a whole lot, but this number has been typically 97% for the last several years. So we're seeing that jump up as well to where sellers are starting to not give as big a discounts as they were the last couple of years. So that's the number to pay attention to, that the market's starting to tighten up. Obviously, if you work with me, we're able to typically negotiate better numbers than that. But every sale is different and every client is different. So we try to find out where the motivated sellers are at and then get you the best prices. I'd love to see this number, 5% discount for you, 8% discount for you. But the reality is right now, the median is only 2%. New listings, 628 new listings hit the market here in the month of May. That means that that was down about 100 from the month prior. So again, as we get out of season, we start to see fewer homes come to the market. And then months of inventory. We just talked about months of inventory. 5 months of inventory available. So we're currently sitting in a neutral market. There's no leverage for the buyer. There's no leverage for the seller, in theory. Now, if you look at the numbers, you're looking to see what's going on here. Buyers still have the upper hand. Buyers still have the leverage. However, that's quickly fading away. Other key numbers to be aware of. Inflation peaked at 9.1% back in June 2022. We're now sitting at 3.8%. Now this is important to understand because we were below 3% for several months. We're now at 3.8% and it's increasing from where we were last month. So we're going to keep an eye on inflation because that'll oftentimes will slow down the buyers, especially since we have a market here in Cape Coral that's a lot of second homes are purchased here, vacation homes. So people keep an eye on the actual bigger market. And if things start to go a little bit sideways, they get a little more skittish and we're not going to sell as many homes here. They keep their money in their pocket as opposed to putting it onto a second home here in Cape Coral. Interest rates, November 2023, we peaked at just over 8%. We're now sitting at 6.5%, 5-6%. We've been around 6.5% for a couple months now. And target is below 6%. I think we've come to the understanding or the conclusion, at least most people have, that we're never going to see interest rates in the 2% or 3% again. That's just not going to happen. That was a great time, but it's not going to happen anytime soon again. So those people that were waiting for interest rates to come back down have accepted the fact that they're not coming back down, at least not to the 2-3% mark. So they are coming back into the market because why waste time? Life's short. You need to enjoy life while you're here and take advantage of living the dream that you want and not base your decisions strictly on interest rates. Obviously that you need to make decisions on that because that bases affordability on what you can actually buy, but don't waste another winter outside the area. Unemployment is at 4.3% and steady. Now that did increase just a little bit over the last several months. We were sitting right around 4%. That is just up slightly, but we're staying steady at right around 4.3%. Next up, supply. So what's our current supply in Cape Coral? We have 2,381 single-family homes available for sale on the market for you to purchase right now, 2,381. That's a year-over-year decrease, though, of 23.8%. Last year at the same time, we had over 3,000 homes for sale on the market. That's huge. Like, you need to pay attention to that. That's the biggest thing that I want you to get from my videos right now and what's happening in the Cape Coral market is inventory is just dropping off. It's just not there. So you have fewer homes to choose from, and eventually that's going to lead to home prices going up if the demand stays strong. Population is currently estimated at 240,000 plus people here in the city of Cape Coral. Next 4 years, we're expected to be at 260,000 people. And by 2050, 320,000 people. We're often ranked as one of the fastest growing cities in Florida. A lot of people want to be here in Cape Coral, and the value is still incredible compared to just about any other market you look at. We'll be able to park your boat right in your backyard and look at it out your window. Maybe you want to go out, do some island hopping, just pack the lunch, take the kids or take the grandkids and just jump in the boat and go. Or maybe you want to go out to do some deep water fishing. You've had that option, fish the back bays. Or you just want to go to dinner and do a quick sunset cruise. Imagine, right from your backyard. You don't have to go to the marina. You don't have to put the boat on, or you don't have to take the boat, have them take the boat off the lift for you. You can take it off yourself. And there's no winterizing here because we keep our boats in our backyard all year round. All right, is now the time to buy? Absolutely. If you've been waiting, you're really going to start missing the window and prices are going to start going back up. I remember back in 2020, and I talked to a lot of clients, and they said, Barry, prices are starting to jump because prices were starting to jump. We had COVID. By the end of 2020, we saw prices jump quite a bit, and into 2021, Barry, I'm going to wait. And those folks got priced out of the market. A lot of them were not even able to buy a house now because the market did peak in June 2022. However, it didn't come back down anywhere near to what prices were in 2020 or 2019. We're still substantially higher than we were then. And I fear for my clients that if they're waiting much longer, the median price point is going to start jumping well above 400,000. So they need to pay attention, take advantage of the opportunities now. If you find a house that you like, give me a call and let's go ahead and explore those options. Options are shrinking, low prices still. It is a neutral market. Leverage is still leaning towards the buyer, but how much longer? I got to pay attention. Just really pay attention to what's going on if you are planning to buy here in the Cape Coral area and you do want the best prices. Sellers are still willing to negotiate, but how much longer? We already saw that they're only giving a 2% discount. Before they were giving a 3 or 4% discount off the list price. So that number has changed as well. So just not as many opportunities as there once were. Doesn't mean there aren't any here. They're just a little more challenging to find. Now, is now the time to sell? So why do you want to sell? You need to understand we're still not where we were back in 2022. Those numbers are not there anymore. They will be eventually. They're not there now. So if you're in the mindset of I want to sell my house now and I want to get the money that my neighbor got in 2022, it's not going to happen. So if you do need to sell because you'll need to move back north to be with family or any other reason, maybe your job's transferred you or you can't work remotely any longer, then you can definitely sell your home. It's just a matter of pricing it correctly, understanding what the market is going to pay for your home, and then going forward from there. Inventory is trending down. We are seeing summer buyers going to start coming into the market now, a lot of relocation buyers. So we're going to be ready for that. However, with inventory trending down, that may make it a little bit more challenging. Strategic selling. It's so important to have the right agent when you are selling your house. We really work with our clients to, number one, give them the absolute price on what their house will sell for so they don't put their home on the market and just let it sit there for month over month. We want you to sell your house quickly, effortlessly, and as stress-free as possible. It's all about getting the most exposure for your property as we can. So we use social media, we use AI, we use all kinds of great stuff. We use YouTube, do a video tour, because at the end of the day, we want your home to be exposed to as many people as possible. And it's got to be priced right, because it doesn't matter how many people we show your house. If it's not priced right, no one's going to come look at it. So there's a really delicate recipe there that has to be followed in order to get your home sold at the highest price possible and as quickly as possible so you can move on to the next chapter of your life. All right, that concludes this market update for June 2026. I hope you found this information useful. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another one of these. And also hit that like button so it goes out to more and more people. My name is Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral Waterfront Realtor. And if you are thinking about buying, selling, investing, or relocating here to the Cape Coral area, go ahead and hit that link below, book your Zoom call. Let's chat. Let's put together a strategic plan to help you escape the frigid cold of the north and start living your best life here in Cape Coral. Look forward to chatting with you. Have a great day.